Alright guys, we're back at it with the chipper. This is the MTD yard machines 10 horse Tecumseh. It's the 3-in-1. Love this thing. It's got the cast iron sleeve. It's industrial, commercial. Runs great. Got it for a really good deal. This one we picked up. We had a video of it out there when we first tried it out. Runs great. And what we're going to do is we had it going and the blades were dull, and we get this thing up on the tripod, and I kind of started on it just to see what I was into. This first one actually says the first chipper I've messed with, but engine wise it's not much different than anything else. Now I did take, see if I can get you guys in there, the blade set right in here on that. I can't remember what that big disc is called, but it's in there. And I pulled, there's the pins. Got the two big pins that hold the guard in. And here's the guard. It's actually bent. See, yeah, the one side's bent, so I have to straighten it up. It should be easy enough. The blades, let's see, here's the finger blades, and they're right there. I think there's 3 of them in there. Not positive. I'll know for sure when we get it apart. Where you can see in there, but these are supposed to come out fairly easy. I stuck a wrench on one of them just to try it, see if it'd turn. That one, no, it's a different one. But it was, there's a piece of wood wedged in that one. But they were, what were they, I think they're 7/16. Yeah. It'll be their 7/16 nut, and I think you got to have a flat head for the back side of it. So for that to happen, we have to take off the big chute where it comes down, where it feeds down and comes into the chipper blades. I got to get it running and working. So I got all this above the fence. I got to cut all this down so we can get back onto getting a new privacy fence put up. So all that has to come out. All the old raggedy old chain link and stuff has to come off. And it is a job. We already done, what's the heck's on this thing? We already done the other side of the yard, and it was not fun. Especially if I had the money to hell. If I can afford to pay somebody to do it, I would. What the heck's going on with this camera? There we go. This thing's always fighting me. Alright, freaking sun glare, I can't even tell where I'm at. Alright, so let's get the chute off, which isn't bad. It's like 3 on the back side over here. The bottom of the chute, there's like 3, I think it's 3, yeah. Yeah, 1 on the side, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and a couple little bolts there. Then the chute should come right off, and we can access the blades. Get that chute off real quick. Be right back. Well, that was kind of a change of plan. Though somebody's had it apart before or not, but this nut, there's supposed to be a washer underneath it. That's how the tube sets. So that one wouldn't come out. There was no washer, and it was sunk down into the plastic here on the chute. So we just had to pop it through and put it back together. I'll make sure I put a washer on it. We'll get that out. But so to get it off, got the top one out. Then had to take on the Yeah, it's in the picture. So there's a screw here, or a nut and bolt, nut and bolt, nut and bolt on the other side. Those are the 7/16, I think. So now that part of the chute, I cracked this loose already, but the chute on there, easiest way I found to get to it was I just used it's 1/2 inch. I just used a couple, those are studs with nuts on them. That washer cracked and broke, but just use a couple extensions, a ratchet. Get right to them. Just don't want to lose them. The other one, same way. There's a notch for it's actually a hunk. Some of these apparently have electric start. That's where the starter would be at. Everything's coming apart, I guess, fairly easy for the most part. And one on the bottom. There we go. 3 of them, so they should slide off. There's that busted washer. No big deal. Let's throw a new one on it. That's it. So the chute's off. Now we should. Yeah, looks like it actually takes a Allen bit. Try to find. I'll show you here. So it is on the inside. Well, this model anyway. On the inside, it is. Appears to be 1/2 inch on the inside, and take a look at it real quick. So you can see down in there, it takes a 1/2 inch on the inside, so you have to have a wrench. And here's the blade, which is pretty dull. Then you have to have a star bit. I have to figure out what size that is. But that. We get in there, wrench around, stick your hands into everything. You want to make sure to move that freaking spark plug wire. Like my fingers where they're at. So, alright, so we'll find a Allen wrench to fit that and go from there. Alright, found a bit. It's like a 4.5, I believe is what it said on it. We're going to slide this big bolt down in there. Try to keep it from moving. Hopefully this works. Oh, the nut came turned. There we go. And I'm hoping all it needs is new blades. I got a lot of stuff to need to chip up. There we go. Nylon. It's got the nylon at the end of the nut. That sucker's in there. Alright, there's one out of it. So I'm going to get this other one out and we can take a look at the blade. Slip. There we go. I've never had one, always wanted one. Of course, when we bought it, you couldn't hear it run. It was inside the store used, so it ain't like they're gonna let you try to fire something up in there. Get the nut. Somebody's in trouble. Alright, let's take a look at the blade. Cool, it's got the model part number on it also. Alright. So here's what we got. Is that W18507 and below it's 781-0490, which we'll need that to get replacement blades. And like part of it has a kind of an edge, another part, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got dings and stuff. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could sharpen it up with a wheel or something, but let's get a new one. So now I have to figure out how to get that nut out of there, but we see how many blades it actually has. So that's one. I looked online. All I could find was a 2-pack. There's 2. Well, looks like it does only have 2. I think. Yep, empty spot. We want the nut. Let's grab hold of something. Yep, looks like it does only have 2 blades. Well, 2 of that style blade anyway. But at some point, what the hell is that? This thing actually, for coming apart right here at the seam, it still is pretty good. This thing's got water in it. Can't believe it. I actually found it. Cool. So you can see these, or I was told was, let's see if I can get in here and show you. These little fingers, I think they're called Frell blades, I think. If you can't freaking see good enough to tell if you guys can see that or not. Oh yeah, that's it right there. Apparently, those just move around when it's spinning. Beat the crap out of leaves and stuff like that, kick it out. That's what I was told anyway, so don't hold me to that. But those are all there, they're all in good shape. It's not, they just told me to check, make sure none of the fingers were missing. But they are all in good shape. Well, one, well, apparently this thing got water in it. I do have one that's kind of stiff. Yeah, this one. So I have to, it's going to have to be freed up. I have 2 of them. So I have to get them freed up and we'll go from there. Alright, so the blades aren't too bad. One video I watched, a guy had one that was similar to this. And he only changed the blades. The blade I just took off. And it seems like that's an access point. Take the chute off. This thing doesn't back out. You take that chute off, and it just like fully, you got full access to the 2 screws right here. The 2, you take the Allen head, and then you can get a wrench on the inside right there to get on the nuts. Now the video I watched, these are the only 2 blades the guy replaced. And he disassembled the whole thing. Took the big chute off, all these bolts, separated, took the whole chute off, and then separated. This thing's got a lot of bolts that go around it, because there are actually another set of blades that set on the front of this disc, right there in the front. But you have to take this chute off to get to those blades. He disassembled the whole deal just to change these two. And of course I'm not going to do that. I am going to take this apart though and clean it up. It's you probably can't see it, but there is water sitting down in there and everything's a little rusty. So I am going to take it all apart, check those other two blades out, make sure they're in good shape. So we'll run the, like I never found the model number on this thing. It was underneath all this dirt. But this thing is in good shape. It's yeah, for being as old as it is, 1990 safety standards. So, but it's kind of odd because on the motor it says the emissions for this 10 horse Tecumseh, the emissions were mid-90s to 2001. So I guess it's probably the same chassis, newer motor, might be my guess. But alright, I'm going to get this other blade out and then go run some numbers and see about ordering a couple blades. Alright, so I've done some digging around online, and these blades aren't exactly cheap. Unless you want to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get them from China, and they're cheap. So I just took and can't get the focus, sharpened it up the best I could. Looks like it's got a pretty good edge on it, so I'll give that a shot first, and doesn't work out, then I'll worry about it. You can get them through Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that, but one of these blades was it like $30 or something for one blade? And they excuse me, none of the stores had them in stock. You had to order them online, have them shipped. So we're going to try this first, see how this works. Now when these go on, so you can see how it's made for this bolt. It's like, it's like that. The washer doesn't go on the inside like that though, but they just set like a groove for it. So it just sets in there flush. So it goes flat. If I can get in here without blocking you guys. Move this thing out of the way here. So it just goes flat up against it. Did get this straightened back out some. Oh. So it'll go flat. It'll sit flat against it like this. Bolts run through this away. And the nut goes on the inside just like how it was when we took it off. And I'm going to have to get on the other side for not blocking it too much. At least we'll do this one, and so the bolts just set in. Easy enough. It ain't bad to do, considering this is the first time I've done it, so I'm not having any issues with it. Thank goodness. This goes right in. So it's just like that. Make sure you put your lock washer on. You got your nut that has the plastic in it. Oops, I just dropped that one. I'll have to fish it out. We'll get a different one on. That's it. Let's use one of these other ones just so we can get this one on real quick. I ain't holding you guys up trying to pluck that out of there. That's pretty much it. They'll screw straight in until they hit that plastic on the end of the nut. I have to switch up on the Allen. The other one got to where it just wasn't wanting to work right. So you probably could get, I don't think I have a socket. Let me see if that socket will fit it. Nope, I don't have one out here. So you probably 1/4 inch drive ratchet, you can probably get right in there with no problem. I just don't have a 1/2 inch on me out here. The ratchet make it a lot easier, or at least a ratcheting wrench make the process a lot faster. But yeah, definitely. Oh, this might too. Let's try this. This bit not fitting too well, but I'll make the process a little quicker. Always make sure you unhook that spark plug wire. This last thing you need is for something freaky to happen and your hand be in there. That's all she wrote for some digits. Crank on it. This bit is not happy. Alright, let's get this one in there and see if we can get her tightened up. There we go. That's it. Just go from there and you that's it. It's just like routine maintenance. So you can see the 2 nuts on the blade. So they just go through, nuts go on, they got the plastic ends on them to help keep them tight. Fuel line's kind of hard, but at least it ain't leaking. Then you got your guard. I don't know the exact term for this thing, but it's the one that was bent. It straightened out pretty good. It just sets in when the pins go through. Something like that. Yeah. Put her to go in. It's got a pin on the top, pin on the bottom. I can't put it in yet. I still got to put the other blade in, but you know, this sets down, shoots the debris out. Get your chute back on. That's it. Pretty much goes back together the same way it came apart. And I'll get it reassembled. And maybe one day this week I'll be able to try it out. But the next step is going to be, I got to get this apart. Well, not just the chute, but on the case itself, it's got like, oh my God, it's a lot of bolts. They go, well, it starts here where this part drops down. It comes all the way around and all the way around the top to hold it in one piece. So I'll take that off so I can check out the blades on the inside. The blades, and I gotta get this one to free up. It is pretty stiff. You can tell, I mean, you can see, I can't believe this thing holds water in it. But there is, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is yeah, there's definitely water down in there. I can't believe this thing's holding water. So the plan is get it cleaned, get it apart, get it cleaned up, check those blades out, maybe sharpen them up a little bit. That one there looks a little dull, so be a different day and a different video for that, but we'll get her going. And for you guys that have the starter on them, there's your access. You take the chute off. Here's where your starter would sit at. Your starter bolts. Starter goes in right here. I obviously don't have that on this one. And you got a real nice drain on the oil too. I don't know if there's one. Some of them will have. No, this one doesn't have it on this side. Some of them will have two different locations. This one I believe only has one, and it's actually pretty nice. Just crank it out right here, and once you take it off, the oil will drain right out. Put fresh oil in it. This one obviously is getting an oil change, and it's full, but it's pretty much shot. It's hard to tell last time it had one, but get the oil change on it, get the blade straightened out, and this thing should be ready to work. Like I was saying, you can see that stuff's got like some footage above the fence. We got to get all that out, get it chipped up, and call it a day. And hopefully here soon we'll be working on that K20. I finally got it up on stands. I just got to go pick my impact up so I can get the tires off of it, and we're going to be messing with the brakes on it, trying to get it together. But got to do it on this one. It's just routine maintenance on the chipper blades, and next we'll be doing the other blades. Alright guys, thanks for watching.